Thank you, Council President. On Monday, ICE moved through Northeast Los Angeles. I received reports of immigration enforcement sightings at Eagle Rock Plaza, detentions in Highland Park and El Sereno. That's just in Council District 14. And this week, I've seen reports of ICE in Glendale, Las Feliz, Cypress Park, and more. People were taken from commercial corridors, from places where they work, where they shop, where they gather, where they live their daily lives. Let's be clear what happened. Parents were taken, workers were taken, community members were taken, and this all happened on the first day back to school after winter break. Children returned to school that day with the excitement of seeing their teachers and classmates and friends at the start of a new year, and some returned home that night to one less parent. These raids are not about safety, they're about political theater, and they're meant to intimidate, traumatize, and push immigrant communities further into the shadows. But let me say this clearly, ICE activity is still happening here, but so is resistance. Our neighbors showed up. Rapid response networks mobilized immediately and notified our office. People documented what was happening, shared information, and protected one another. That is what solidarity looks like. Our office was able to respond quickly because of the tireless effort of these local networks. In Northeast LA, Tanggol Migrante, a Filipino community organizing group, has been an extraordinary source of real-time information and support for our community. Their ability to rapidly disseminate information and help keep neighbors safe is both courageous and deeply honorable. Today, we are honored to hear from June, one of the organizers with Tanggol Migrante. She and her colleagues have been on the ground monitoring our neighborhoods and warning residents of ICE activity. This work is inherently dangerous, but so invaluable. And now I turn it over to June.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Jurado, and good morning, everyone. My name is June. I'm with Tanggol Migrante Movement. Tanggol Migrante, translated into English, is Defend Migrants Movement. We are an alliance of Filipino community organizations, of student groups, of healthcare workers, of professionals, of faith leaders who have come together not just in Los Angeles, but across the US, who are defending the rights and welfare of Filipino migrant workers, of migrant families. We've seen nationally, ICE has become more emboldened to harm our communities, and we thank Councilmember Jurado for her partnership with our community organizations. Our work with her actually spans years in the making, and it's been able to provide services not only to people in her constituency, but also to places like historic Filipino town, San Fernando Valley. And I wanted to begin this presentation by sharing a specific story of a Filipina migrant worker, a caregiver. For privacy purposes, I'll call her Tita Agnes. We met her during the outreach of the wildfires that impacted Northeast LA, and she has continued to face housing insecurity, job insecurity, but we have built with her. She's also joined our organizations. And more recently, it was her that notified us of ICE presence in Eagle Rock Plaza. It's a place where she gets her groceries, she goes to the bank there, and she also spends time with her community there. Eagle Rock Plaza is such a hub for Filipino communities, and we want to continue to partner with council members, and we encourage other council members here to support community organizations who are doing the work on the ground. It is through this partnership, it is through this continued collaboration that we're able to defend our communities against the harmful policies, immigration policies under this administration, and against the harmful presence of ICE. Renee, Nicole Good, and Keith Porter all should have been examples of us taking ICE presence seriously in our communities. And so I defer my time, but thank you so much again, and let's continue to build people power.
Thank you. Thank you, June, for your heartfelt words and for being on the front lines of protecting those in our community. As we know, the ICE raids continue to happen, and for API populations, it's a little bit different. It's not as obvious. They're actually coming to immigration appointments. They're going to their court appointments. It's going to regularly scheduled meetings for lawful activities is where our folks are being detained. And now they're coming into primarily communities of color like Eagle Rock, like Highland Park, where they're taking folks, especially ones that are working class and have been pretty outspoken about how they feel about the federal government and federal ICE enforcement. And so it really takes a lot of courage to be out there. And so I want to thank June and Tanggol Migrante for doing the work that, you know, honestly is oftentimes thankless and hidden and really necessary. So thank you, June.
Thank you, June, and thank you so much, Councilmember Jurado, for that testimonial. We appreciate us helping us continue to shine the light from this chamber to the country and to the world. All right, we'll begin calling names for public comment. And just so you know, we had less than 10 people sign up for public comment. So we expect to be done with public comment by about 10:40. And just to the audience, we're at bare quorum and we need 12 votes to move some business. So the quicker we can get to votes, the better for everybody. All right, let's go.
Good morning. Which items would you like to speak to?
General.
Okay, so you have 1 minute. Go ahead.
El pasado viernes habló un hombre desde aquí y él, ¿dónde está el traductor?
Estoy aquí, señora. This past Friday, there was a man here. Adelante.
Y él dijo, queremos una revolución. Yo creo que es una trampa de la CIA para aterrizar a todos los miembros de council.
He said, "We want a revolution," and I think this is a trick from the CIA to terrorize the members of the council.
Gracias. Él tal vez no es consciente de eso.
He might not be conscious of this.
Este fin de semana yo asistí a una conferencia de personas hablando del terremoto.
This weekend, I attended a conference of people speaking about the earthquake.
El cataclismo es fascismo.
Cataclysm is fascism.
Sí. Este hombre dijo que él cree que sería fácil resolver.
Next speaker. Good morning. Which items would you like to speak to?
Necesito un intérprete.
Adelante, señor, nada más haga pausa entre sus oraciones.
Ok, estoy aquí para sobre de un bill que ya pagué, pero no sé por qué me mandaron el cobro otra vez.
I'm here because of a bill that I have already paid, but I don't know why they're trying to charge me again for this. Adelante.
If you want to speak to someone about a specific item, we can have someone meet you on the side from the council district that you're speaking about.
Si usted quiere hablar sobre este asunto en particular, puede hablar con, van a mandar a alguien que pueda hablar con usted de su distrito para resolver esto.
Sí.
Yes.
Good morning. Which items would you like to speak to?
Good morning. I wanted to talk about, the ICE situation real quick.
Okay, so you have 1 minute for general public comment. Go ahead.
Thank you. So I come today to talk about a post I had read online regarding the first council meeting of the year. Towards the end of the post, it said that council member Monica Rodriguez had said, without calling anyone out by name, she seemed to do exactly what I asked them to do. Publicly tell us that they're being prevented from acting. She said that they're being prevented from acting. She said that certain actions the council could take to mitigate ICE have been intentionally stymied in committee, preventing them from being widely debated on the floor. She said that committee leaderships and council leadership are complicit in what's going on, and she said the public is absolutely correct to be frustrated with the city council's intention, so here I am. One of America's biggest problems at the moment is its poor imitation of Nazi Germany's Gestapo. Since the murder of Renee Good in Minneapolis and the murder of Keith Porter on New Year's Eve, tensions have grown with protests happening in what feels like every corner of the U.S., which is an appropriate response to an out-of-control clown show of a federal department. American tax dollars at work.
3 minutes for the items and 1 minute for general public comment. Go ahead.
Okay, I want to talk about all, like, I forget the number, but the ones where you're trying to, not have fees for this or remove fees for that. It's in there. I took pictures of it. Yeah, it's in there. You need me to pause my time so you can look it up? But anyway.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's something about Van Nuys or whatever. And then, so I'm all for, like, giving a break to the people for, like, the building LADBS permits or whatever, except you have, like, not only just the Church of Scientology, but you have other agencies that are tax-free that don't pay taxes, and you keep giving them breaks. And I'm against that. Like I said yesterday, I'm not only against anything I'm talking about because Mr. Lee still owes me an apology. I'm legit against it because this entity that just takes so much from this city gives nothing in return except maybe an occasional cleanup to help recruit people. And, they're getting all this tax-free stuff. And then so for Van Nuys, these like regular people, yeah, they should be getting breaks. They're the ones that should be getting the breaks. The people who, are having a hard time and stuff, not a billion-dollar tax-free exempt thing that is run by a bunch of criminals. And, and shout out to Smoke and Scan, and stuff like that, because I'm hoping they agree. There's other things too, and like I said, anything that Mr. Lee is putting out on here, I have to say no until I get my apology. Other than that, then I'll reconsider. And but until then, no. And I forget the rest of the stuff. Just let me go to public comment.
Okay, so you have 1 minute. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm disgusted because this city is continuing. For the Shrine Auditorium, for Scientology's New Year's Eve event, you guys you permitted to shut down all the streets around it and the sidewalk. They don't have the legal premise to do that. First of all, you can't prevent the pedestrians from going on the sidewalks, but they did. You guys allowed Scientologists to view everybody's their ID to see if they belonged on that street. Any public member belongs on that street. You guys are going to get sued big time, okay? And then you shut down all the streets around it, even though the event was indoors, and there was a major game. There was a USC game going on, and they knew that there was going to be traffic issues. You still shut down all the streets because you know why? Scientology did not want Laura over there to get a glimpse of her father and possibly try to get him out of their cult. They spent $42,000 for that because they're not under any massive protest. Okay, there's no reason to cut that off.
Speaker, your time has expired. Morning. Which items would you like to speak to?
General public comment.
Okay, so you have 1 minute. Go ahead.
Hi, board. Hi, city. I'm here again. Laura Anderson. Opening the eyes to the city that there are divorce papers, the divorce between Scientology and the city. That means all of Scientology's front groups, such as Narconon, your new drug-free program, let's see, Wise, Able. How about the Offer Services on Hollywood or the Galaxy Press, who pays for the whole fucking Hollywood parade? Winter Wonderland. Now, $42,000 for the Shrine Auditorium closure and street permits and all that for Scientology for one night. $33,000 of that goes to 5 LAPD officers. 2 of the supervisors who were literally forcing the 3 protesters, which are not protesters, these are children of the cult members that are stuck in there, like my father, who were trying to get out. They had their indentured slaves IDing.
Speaker, your time has expired. So, Speaker, we have to treat everybody equally. If anybody, okay. Speaker, this is your first and only formal warning. Again, we have to treat everybody equally. So for general public comment, everybody only gets 1 minute. If you have additional comments that you would like to make in writing, everybody's welcome to do so. If your name is not called because we ran out of time, or if you run out of time, you can do so at lacouncilcomment.com. Thank you. Good morning. Which items?
Gentlemen, my name is Frederick Sillick, and I try to be a civilized citizen. My concern is the appropriate behavior being practiced for the success of these proceedings to properly move forward. We can't build a people power without understanding what entails to be a people. My mature reflections tell us Adult status in our environment has never been fully realized. We have never, as a race, truly explored the phenomenon. We are the world, we are the children, must be advanced to a new lyrical harmony. We are the universe, we are the adults. Adult status is not measured by the number of revolutions around the earth, around the sun by the earth. That's astrology. That's the dubious practice of astrology. Adult measures their worth by a critical determining number of creative principles accumulated. Divide and conquer is not a positive principle.
Thank you. And as we wait for the next speaker to come up, just as a reminder to everybody, while general public comment is quite broad, it does need to be tied to something within the city's subject matter jurisdiction. Good morning, Speaker. Which items would you like to speak to?
I am the CEO of Film LA, and I just want to express our support for the motion that was put forward by Councilmember Blumenfield, and that we are happy to work with the concept that we're all working on today with the Board of Public Works, with the council members, to streamline and make filming more affordable for the industry with our board-led industry people. So I just wanted to express that sentiment. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I need to make mention of a solution to ICE raids, something that I am working throughout Los Angeles now and interacting with the various governments. My idea right now and to present to City Council is extending protections along the United States, Mexico, Canada agreement, using that as a basis to extend protections internationally. Went to school for international relations. I think that it will work. I've recently met the Consulate General of the Embassy of Mexico in Los Angeles. The other thing is something called Space California. I want to get your guys' attention raised upon an auxiliary department, hopefully, that will be considered for inclusion in Los Angeles County government operations. That's it. I wish you guys a beautiful day. God bless.
Next are the closed session items, and those are item 34 through 47. And at the beginning of the meeting, Councilmember McCosker mentioned that those may all be voted on in open session, sir. So shall I read the settlement amount, sir?
Yes, please.
Okay. Item 35, in the case entitled Fortunato Barquero versus City of Los Angeles et al., there is a recommendation to expend up to $150,000 in settlement. Item 36, in the case entitled Roberto Lorenzana versus City of Los Angeles, there's a recommendation to expend up to $150,000 in settlement. Item 37, in the case entitled Jonathan Peltz and Kathleen Gallagher versus City of Los Angeles et al., there is a recommendation to expend up to $500,000 in settlement. Item 38, in the case entitled Giancarlo Bermudez versus City of Los Angeles et al., there is a recommendation to expend up to $150,000 in settlement. Item 39, in the case entitled Rosario Roast versus City of Los Angeles et al., there is a recommendation to expend up to $200,000 in settlement. Item 40, in the case entitled Kevin Horton versus City of Los Angeles et al., there is a recommendation to expend up to $200,000 in settlement. Item 41, in the case entitled Seema Dayani versus Grand Stoli LLC et al., there is a recommendation to expend up to $200,000 in settlement. Item 42, in the case entitled Rebecca Fortschneider versus City of Los Angeles et al., there is a recommendation to expend up to $500,000 in settlement. Item 43, in the case entitled Sonia Patterson versus City of Los Angeles et al., there is a recommendation to expend up to $553,999 in settlement. Item 44, in the case entitled Miguel Diaz versus City of Los Angeles et al., there is a recommendation to expend up to $975,000 in settlement. Item 45, in the case entitled Jennifer Lynn Wecker versus City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to expend up to $175,000 in settlement. Item 46, in the case entitled Juan Manuel Argomanes et al. Versus City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to expend up to $150,000 in settlement. Finally, item 47, in the case entitled Linda Gonzalez versus City of Los Angeles et al., there is a recommendation to expend up to $100,000 in settlement. Those are the items before council, sir.
All right, those items are now before us. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
All right, what's next? Councilmember Lee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mine's an announcement for an event happening tonight, and also thank you. The Foo Fighters, many of you know, many of you are fans. The Foo Fighters is putting on a benefit concert tonight for LA Mission and Hope the Mission, two organizations that I've worked with in the past and worked very closely with to raise money. 100% of the proceeds goes to help those organizations. It's at the forum tonight, and wanted to thank Dave and the rest of the band. They always show up to different events, whether we're rolling meatballs or putting on a barbecue, helping us feed thousands of people throughout the San Fernando Valley. The band members, especially Dave Grohl, has been such a helpful part of bringing attention to what's happening on our streets and really trying to do what he can to help out. So I want to say thank you to them and hope to see you at the concert tonight.
Thank you so much for that announcement, Mr. Lee, and thank you to Dave Grohl and the band. Dave's one of the best drummers alive today, and also one of the best human beings and best Angelinos we have. So thank you for that announcement. Councilmember Park.
Thank you, Council President. Colleagues, it is with a heavy heart that I ask that we adjourn today's meeting in honor of two beloved members of the Brentwood community whose lives left an enduring impact on Hollywood, on our civic life, and really the moral imagination of our entire country, Rob and Michelle Reiner. Rob Reiner was born on March 6, 1947, the son of legendary comedy writer and performer Carl and Estelle Reiner. Rob came of age inside the living rooms of America, first as an actor, and then as something rarer, a storyteller who understood how culture is shaped not only by laughter, but by empathy, conscience, and craft. His portrayal of Michael Meathead Stivic on All in the Family helped redefine what television could confront, politically, socially, and emotionally. But really, it was behind the camera where Rob made his most indelible mark. In an extraordinary creative run, he directed films that did more than succeed. They endured. This is Spinal Tap, Stand By Me, The Princess Bride, When Harry Met Sally, Misery, and A Few Good Men did not merely span genres, they shaped them. Few filmmakers in American history have spoken so fluently in comedy, romance, drama, suspense, and moral inquiry, often within the same decade. These films became touchstones not because they chased trends, but because they trusted audiences to feel deeply, laugh honestly, and think seriously. That trust was Rob Reiner's signature. Alongside him, always, and with purpose and intention, was Michelle Singer Reiner. Michelle Singer Reiner was an LA-raised artist who chose a life of substance over spotlight, keeping her personal history private while devoting her professional life to creative work, civic engagement, and family. Michelle was a gifted photographer and producer, an artist with a discerning eye and an independent voice. Her work stood on its own, yet her influence extended far beyond any single credit. She was a trusted creative partner, a steady presence, and a moral compass. Someone who understood that success without values is hollow, and storytelling carries responsibility. Together, Rob and Michelle presented a version of Hollywood that believes talent and citizenship are not in conflict. They shared civic work that reflected their belief. Through the I Am Your Child initiative, they helped elevate early childhood development as a public priority. Through their advocacy for civil rights, marriage equality, and democratic values, they used their prominence not for spectacle, but for progress. Rob Reiner's political voice, clear, principled, and persistent, was never about personal gain. It was rooted in the same conviction that defined his work, that stories matter, that people matter, and that silence in the face of injustice is itself a choice. They were, above all, a partnership, not one defined by spotlight, but by steadiness, and not by celebrity, but by contribution. Rob and Michelle are survived by their 3 children, 5 grandchildren, and by generations of artists, advocates, and audiences whose lives were shaped by their work and example. May their memory be a blessing and a reminder that greatness is measured not only by what we create, by what we stand for. May they rest in peace.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Park. Councilmember Rodriguez.
Thank you so much, Ms. Park, for that beautiful adjournment. I had the privilege of meeting Rob when I was working at LA Unified, and he was leading the work on the tobacco tax to make sure that we were caring for our most vulnerable and, most precious asset, our kids. And, I remember after meeting him, and just such an affable, wonderful human being, and so selfless, just very generous, very, the humility and just laughter. I remember going, running to tell my folks, I meant meathead. He was just a kind soul. And this tragedy is one that I know from politics to community are feeling and pain. That loss has just been incredible. But thank you so much for that beautiful adjournment. I'd like to be added. And may they rest in peace, and may their memory be a blessing.
Thank you, Councilmember Rodriguez, and thank you, Councilmember Park, for the very important adjourning motion.